Hello, I gave birth about 2 weeks ago, and my husband and I decided 2 months ago to not let anyone see our newborn baby for a good month. I told my mother and told his parents too. I do not particularly get along with my husband's parents because of how much his stepmom constantly criticizes me, that I am too introverted, why I don't go to every family event, and she even gets mad that I do not go visit them every week. But I like my space and don't even visit my mother every week. We made the mistake of letting our families come the day of the delivery to see our newborn before they will not see the baby for another few weeks. We wanted a month to ourselves with the baby. His stepmom came in and made an interesting comment saying, "Thank you for giving me my grandbaby," which I thought was odd because no, "Wow, you did amazing," or other compliments. I brushed it off because I was very exhausted and went through 11 hours of labor. His stepmom left and his biological mom, yes, they are a homosexual couple, decided to stay so my husband can go grab his grandma so she can meet the baby too. While I was in the room alone with my mother-in-law, the nurse came in telling me I need to breastfeed the baby to start getting my milk supply to come in. My mother-in-law then proceeded to ask me if I wanted her to stay or leave, which was a relief because I didn't have to bring it up. So I let her know it'll be kind of her to leave so I can have privacy to breastfeed my newborn baby, because I am not comfortable doing it in front of her. I didn't think that was a problem, and apparently I was wrong. I heard a few days later his mom left crying because I didn't want to breastfeed the baby in front of her. She told my husband she could have turned around while I was breastfeeding, and my husband defended me, saying it's my choice whether or not I want someone to watch or to leave. His parents didn't get it and took it to another level. His stepmom proceeded to call me rude and unpleasant behind my back to my husband, simply because I do not feel comfortable breastfeeding in front of them. His stepmom never liked me because I am not the woman she wanted my husband to marry. She has talked behind my back countless times, and instead of coming up to me and confronting me like an adult, every time she has talked behind my back the day that I do see her, she's all smiley and says she loves me. Then I will find out days later how she hates that I do not visit them every week, and again with how I am not that talkative. She even complained to my husband when I was 39 weeks pregnant why I didn't go visit his family when I was clearly over being pregnant and didn't want to go out. His parents have told my husband that I am wrong for what I did the day of the delivery. Am I the idiot for wanting privacy from my mother-in-law so I can breastfeed my child? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. You just had a baby and are completely justified in what you feel is right, not only for yourself but for your baby. Your husband needs to talk to his mom and stepmom and nip their behavior, because if they are talking behind your back now, they will do it in front of your kid later on. Do not let them push you to do things you are not comfortable with. Set boundaries and maybe even tell them you do not appreciate the two-faced behavior. Comment 2. Her feelings are hers to manage. Start saying that. Also say it is odd that someone would have such a problem giving a new mom a little space and grace. I hope they feel better. Keep them far away until you have a nice, comfortable breastfeeding, baby care, and self-care routine. They are not the new mom. You are. They can sit down, not at your house. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks so much for reading my last post and for all your support. It's been, well, I'll just get into it, of a week since then, and I've got quite the update for you. So after the whole breastfeeding incident with my mother-in-law, things were pretty tense between my husband and his parents. They just couldn't seem to understand why I wanted privacy and kept insisting that I was being rude and unreasonable. My husband tried his best to defend me, but it was clear that his parents weren't going to let this go. A few days later, my husband's stepmom showed up at our house unannounced. I was caught off guard, but tried to be polite and invited her in. She sat down with us and started going on about how she felt disrespected and hurt by my actions at the hospital. She said that as a grandmother, she had every right to be there for her grandchild, and that I was being selfish by denying her that. I tried to explain my perspective, but she just wasn't having it. She started bringing up all these past grievances, like how I don't visit them enough and how I'm too introverted. It was clear that this wasn't just about the breastfeeding thing. She had a lot of built-up resentment towards me. Things got pretty heated, and at one point my husband's stepmom even threatened to cut us off from the family if I didn't apologize and promise to be more accommodating in the future. I was shocked and hurt, but I stood my ground. I told her that I respected her feelings, but that I wasn't going to compromise my own comfort and boundaries just to please her. My husband backed me up, but I could tell he was torn. He loves his parents and doesn't want to lose them, but he also knows that I'm his wife and the mother of his child. It was a really tough situation for both of us. In the end, my husband's stepmom left in a huff, and we were left reeling from the confrontation. Over the next few days, we had a lot of long talks about what had happened and what we wanted to do moving forward. We both agreed that we needed to set some clear boundaries with his parents, but we also didn't want to cut them out of our lives completely. We decided to write them a letter, explaining our perspective and laying out some ground rules for future interactions. We made it clear that we loved them and wanted them to be a part of our child's life, but that we also needed them to respect our choices as parents and as individuals. It was a risk, putting it all out there like that, but we felt like it was the only way to move forward. We sent the letter and waited anxiously for a response. A few days later, we got a call from my husband's biological mom. She told us that she and her wife had read our letter and had done a lot of thinking. She apologized for the way they had acted and said that they wanted to make things right. She acknowledged that they had been too pushy and critical and that they needed to do a better job of respecting our boundaries. It was a huge relief to hear her say those things, and it gave us hope that maybe we could find a way to move forward as a family. We agreed to meet up with them in person to talk things out, and while it was awkward at first, we were able to have a really honest and productive conversation. Since then, things have been slowly but surely improving. My husband's parents are making an effort to be more supportive and less judgmental, and we're trying to be more communicative and open with them. It's not perfect, but it's progress. Looking back, I realized that a lot of the tension between me and my husband's parents stems from our different upbringings and personalities. I grew up in a small, close-knit family where privacy and personal space were highly valued. My husband's family, on the other hand, is much more extroverted and involved in each other's lives. It's not that either way is right or wrong, but it does mean that we have to work a little harder to find a middle ground. I'm learning to be more open and communicative with my in-laws, while also setting clear boundaries when I need to. And they're learning to respect my need for space and privacy, even if it doesn't come naturally to them. All in all, it's been a challenging but ultimately rewarding week. We took a big risk by confronting the issues head-on, but it paid off in the end. Our family isn't perfect, but we're working on it, one day at a time. Thanks for reading, everyone. I appreciate all your support and advice. Am I the idiot for telling my fiancé to stop supporting his brother financially? I, 31-year-old female, am engaged to my partner, 40-year-old male, and we welcomed our little one a few months ago. My partner is very financially stable and has a well-paying career. I have a great job too, and I'm currently attending school. So my fiancé and his brother, 38-year-old male, who I will call Bob, went to school together for the same career. However, Bob chose to go back to bartending while my fiancé stayed in the field. My fiancé and his brother have a very wealthy father. Their father bought them the houses they currently live in and gave them a trust fund when they turned 35, giving them a head start for stability, but they had to maintain it themselves. No more handouts after that. My fiancé used that trust fund for his mortgage. His brother Bob used his trust fund to take a few years off work. Then I came into the picture and we got engaged after 2 years. Bob's girlfriend became pretty threatened by this because Bob won't marry her. And because he won't marry her, she will not be receiving any inheritance money from any family members, mainly their father. Crazy story here. Feeling threatened, the girlfriend announces that they are expecting again. Their savings are completely depleted now. Feeling desperate, Bob asked my fiancé if he can use his identity to find a well-paying job under his name. He wants to use his resume, Idaho, social security number, etc., to get a job in the same field. My partner tells him no, but Bob keeps pestering and saying they are struggling. Then he asked my fiancé to borrow $20,000 while I'm in the hospital. My fiancé says we don't have that kind of money, but even if we did, the answer would still be no. Last week, Bob said he had no money to pay the mortgage this month and that he could lose the house. He begged my fiancé for help, and my fiancé felt bad for him, so he asked for help fixing the roof in exchange for money. Yesterday, Bob showed up and helped for only 1 hour before running off because his girlfriend wanted him to do the dishes. My fiancé still paid him in full. Today, Bob is asking for money and my fiance's identity again. I told my fiance that his brother and his girlfriend are spoiled freeloaders. I grew up with a single mom, living paycheck to paycheck. If we didn't work, we didn't eat. I still have that mindset. It's infuriating to have his brother coming in and asking for savings that I'm also contributing to. I told my fiance that I'd like to talk to his dad this week. You see, it's their dad's name on Bob's house. I want to know what exactly is going on here. Shouldn't their wealthy father help him out? But my fiance says I'd be inviting drama and it's a jerk move. Would I be the jerk if I told their dad what's happening? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. As long as you are confident that your partner will stand firm and will not go along with his brother's insane scheme to steal his identity, and will also not give him any more money, then I think you would be the jerk if you told his dad. At the moment, this is between your partner and his brother. If you step in and involve the dad, yes, that will create a lot of drama and you will very much be portrayed as the villain. If you think that your partner might give in, then yes, you need to take the nuclear option and get the dad involved. It might help if you make all of this very clear to your partner as well. Edit. Miss the part about your partner's dad being the name on the mortgage. He probably should know about the situation in that case, but really, your partner should be the one to tell him. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Bob is taking advantage of you and your husband to the point of trying to involve you in illegal activities, wasting the head start his father tried to give him in life, and leading his girlfriend along while refusing to work or commit. It sounds like Bob is screwing over literally every person in his life. I also find it odd that your father-in-law's name is on his house, but Bob can't pay the mortgage. I'd say either he's not telling his dad about how much financial trouble he's in which case you have an obligation to warn him since his name is on the house, or Bob is lying to you about what he needs the money for and is actually planning to blow your cash on who knows what. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading my previous post. I wanted to give you all an update on what's been happening over the past week. After my fiance paid Bob for barely helping with the roof, things took a turn for the worse. The next day, Bob showed up at our house unannounced, demanding more money. He claimed that his girlfriend had lost her job and they were in dire straits. My fiance, feeling guilty and wanting to help his brother, gave him another $1,000 without consulting me. When I found out, I was furious. I couldn't believe that my fiance had given away more of our hard-earned money without discussing it with me first. We got into a heated argument, and I told him that I was tired of his brother taking advantage of us. My fiance defended Bob, saying that he was family and we needed to support him. The argument escalated, and I ended up storming out of the house. I went to stay with my mom for a couple of days to clear my head. During that time, I did a lot of thinking about our relationship and our future together. I realized that my fiance's inability to stand up to his brother was a major issue that needed to be addressed. When I returned home, I sat down with my fiance and had a heart-to-heart conversation. I told him that I loved him and wanted to build a life together, but I couldn't do that if he continued to enable his brother's behavior. I explained that we needed to be a team and make financial decisions together. My fiance listened and apologized for not considering my feelings. He admitted that he had a hard time saying no to his brother because of their history together. Growing up, their father had always favored my fiance, and Bob had struggled to find his place in the family. My fiance felt guilty for his brother's struggles and wanted to help him however he could. We agreed to set some boundaries with Bob and to be more transparent with each other about our finances. My fiance promised to stop giving his brother money without discussing it with me first. Unfortunately, our newfound resolve was put to the test sooner than we expected. The very next day, Bob showed up at our house again, this time with his girlfriend in tow. They were both in tears, claiming that they had been evicted from their home and had nowhere else to go. My fiance looked at me, unsure of what to do. I could see the conflict in his eyes, torn between his desire to help his brother and his promise to me. In the end, he made the difficult decision to turn them away, telling Bob that he needed to figure things out on his own. It was a heartbreaking moment, but I was proud of my fiance for standing his ground. We both knew that it was the right thing to do, even if it was painful in the moment. Since then, we haven't heard from Bob or his girlfriend. I worry about them and hope that they are able to get back on their feet, But I also know that we can't be responsible for their choices. This whole experience has been a wake-up call for my fiance and me. We've realized that we need to be more proactive about our financial planning and communication. We've started working with a financial advisor to help us set goals and make smart decisions with our money. It hasn't been easy, but I'm hopeful that we'll come out of this stronger as a couple. We've learned some valuable lessons about setting boundaries and prioritizing our own needs as a family. Thanks for reading and for all of your support. It means a lot to have a community to turn to during tough times like these. Am I the idiot for confronting a regular who spreads lies about me? After I asked him to stop reaching over the counter, I am a 26-year-old female and I work at a head shop, smoke shop, glass shop, where we sell glass paraphernalia, tobacco products, and similar items. Due to the nature of our business, we don't always have the best clientele. There is a regular customer, a gentleman, who always buys the same thing when he visits. Sometimes I can remember what he needs, and other times I can't. However, every time he comes in, he reaches over the counter to point at the product he wants instead of using words. This makes it difficult for me to assist him, as he knocks things over on the counter while doing so. To address this issue, I politely asked him not to reach over the counter because it not only causes items to fall, but also makes me uncomfortable. Unfortunately, he didn't appreciate my request and gave me a disapproving or strange look. He proceeded to complete his purchase, took a business card, and asked if the owner's number was on it. I informed him that the number was not available and that I don't have it either. Additionally, I am not allowed to share my immediate boss's phone number as it is his personal number and not a company line. As the manager of the location, I understand that I may have annoyed the gentleman. However, I don't see why it's a problem to ask someone not to reach over the counter and knock things over. A few hours later, I received a call from a different location informing me that the gentleman had called to complain about me. He apparently told the employee that I was rude, said he looked homeless, and yelled at him for parking his car in front of the shop. None of these accusations are true. The gentleman is a well-groomed, tall, elderly man, and I have no idea why he mentioned me calling him homeless. While it is technically against the law to park in front of the shop due to the red-painted curb, I personally don't mind customers doing it for quick purchases. Knowing that the gentleman would likely return and attempt the same behavior, I anticipated his next visit. When he did come back, he made an effort to park in an actual spot, which is something I never had an issue with. However, he entered the shop immediately yelling out what he wanted. I interrupted him mid-sentence and informed him that if he wants to spread lies about me to other locations and jeopardize my job, then he can purchase his tobacco from those other shops. Am I the a-hole, AITO, in this situation? Additionally, later on, his daughter came into the shop and continued spreading false information about me and my customer service. If you were to check our Google reviews, you would consistently find my name mentioned positively by satisfied customers. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. Hopefully you have a sign that says we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone. And if so, just point to it and say to leave, or you will call the police on them for trespassing. That's all you need to do. Let the cops handle it. Besides, no one will believe his lunatic rantings about you anyways, because they are probably getting them as well. Comment 2, not the idiot. Mention to your boss that he's gotten his daughter involved in spreading lies about you. This guy should honestly be banned from all locations, because if he'll do it to one employee, he'll do it to everyone. He sounds like he was kind of a jerk to begin with. Anyway. Now, for the update. Hey there, thanks for the update. It's been a hectic week since my last post, and I've got some new developments to share. So remember that gentleman who caused a scene at the shop? Well, he showed up again a few days later, and this time he brought his daughter with him. As soon as they walked in, the daughter started yelling at me, saying that I had disrespected her father and that she was going to report me to the owner. I tried to explain the situation calmly, but she wasn't having it. She kept going on about how I had no right to tell her father where to park and that I was a terrible employee. Now here's the thing. I found out later that this gentleman and his daughter have a history of causing trouble at other local businesses. Apparently, they've been banned from a few places for similar behavior. I guess I should have seen it coming, but I never expected them to take it this far. The situation escalated when the daughter started knocking things off the counter, just like her father had done before. I asked her to stop, but she just got more aggressive. At that point, I had to call the police. It was a tough decision, but I couldn't risk the safety of myself or the other customers in the shop. When the police arrived, they took statements from everyone involved. The gentleman and his daughter tried to spin the story, but thankfully there were other customers who backed up my version of events. The police ended up issuing a warning to the gentleman and his daughter and told them not to come back to the shop. But here's the twist. A few days later, I got a call from the owner of the shop. He told me that he had received a complaint from the gentleman's daughter, claiming that I had attacked her in the store. I was shocked. I knew I hadn't done anything wrong, but I also knew that it was my word against hers. The owner asked me to come in for a meeting to discuss the situation. I was nervous, but I knew I had to defend myself. I brought in the police report and the statements from the other customers, hoping that would be enough to clear my name. During the meeting, the owner revealed that he had actually known the gentleman and his daughter for years. They were old family friends, and he had always turned a blind eye to their behavior. He apologized for not taking my concerns seriously before and admitted that he should have done more to protect his employees. In the end, the owner decided to ban the gentleman and his daughter from all of his shops. He also gave me a raise and promoted me to assistant manager. It was a bittersweet moment. I was grateful for the recognition, but I couldn't help but feel like it shouldn't have taken something so extreme for the owner to take action. Looking back, I realized that I should have spoken up sooner about the gentleman's behavior. I had always tried to brush it off, thinking that it wasn't a big deal, but the truth is no one should have to put up with harassment or abuse at work, no matter how small it may seem. I'm just glad that the situation was resolved without anyone getting hurt. It's been a stressful week, but I feel like I've learned a lot about standing up for myself and my fellow employees. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for reading, and I'll keep you updated if anything else happens. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.